Introduction. Quarantine is a restriction on the movement of people and goods. Quarantine is done to prevent the spread of disease or pest. It is used for irritation of disease and ailments. This prevents the movement of people who may have been exposed to a contagious disease. Since biblical times, it is known that quarantine have been practiced throughout history in various places. Concept. A quarantine is a restriction on the movement of people and goods intended to prevent the spread of disease or pests. It is often used in relation to disease and ailments, preventing the movement of those who may have been exposed to a contagious disease, but don't have a confirmed medical diagnosis. It is distinct from medical isolation, where those who are confirmed to be infected with a communicable disease are isolated from the healthy population. 21st century. In the 21st century, people suspected of carrying infectious disease have been quarantined, as in the case of Andrew Speaker, multi-drug-resistant tuberculosis 27, and Casey Hicklock's Ebola 2014. This was already the case since the late 20th century. Table quarantine. Signs and flags. Plain yellow, green, and even black flags have been used to symbolize disease in both sheep and purse, with the color yellow having a long historical presence as a color marking for house infection. Previous to it used as maritime marking color for the disease. The former flag used for the purpose was the Lima L flag, which is a mixture of yellow and black flags previously used. It is sometimes called the yellow jack, but this was also a name for yellow fever, which probably derives its common name from the flag, not the color of the victim. Cholera ships also used a yellow flag. The plain yellow flag, KEBER or K in international maritime signal flags, probably derives its letter symbol for its initial use in quarantine, but this flag in modern time indicates the opposite, a chick-directed-free practice. Table quarantine. Convict chick Surrey Sydney Harbour 1814 typhoid. Typhoid Mary US 1907 and 1910 and 1915 and 1938. It's Samoa 1918 flu pandemic. Grenard Island 1942 1990 anthrax. COVID-19 pandemic to present. During the COVID-19 pandemic, multiple government actors enacted quarantine in an effort to curb the rapid spread of the virus. On 26 March, 1.7 billion people worldwide were under some form of lockdown, which increased to 2.6 billion people 2 days later, around a third of the world populations. The effects of the coronavirus on maritime navigation: 1. Delays in cruise chains. 2. Repatriation of seafarers. 3. Medical treatment of suspected cases on board. 4. Onboard assistance for certification and statutory purposes. 5. Cargo operation. 6. Bunkering. 7. Store supplies, spare parts. 8. Delays due to pilot shortage or refusal to board. Conclusion. In the present world, we saw that quarantine has been used for a long time as a measure to prevent further spreading a disease or plague, being a very effective method, but currently with COVID, the quarantine put into China since the beginning of the virus in December of last year was not as effective since it spread to Europe and to all other continents, already infecting a third of the population, and that is why many countries have to do mandatory quarantine. As has been happening in Panama since March, quarantine helped to prevent so many infections, but it has also been the cause that many activities were stopped as many jobs, tourist activities being a problem for the world economy. Going through this pandemic and many governments companies have been looking for a strategy to lift restrictions and for people to adapt to be secure